Welcome, one and all, to the KOE Nation for a very special year in review. I am Lord Phil, the King of Extreme, here to really delve deep into the year that was extreme. It was the debut of the KOE Nation. It was a year of tumult and chaos until a voice of reason, known as Phil, came into this world like a shining ray of sunlight and just brought a little bit more truth into this world. And a lot has happened, folks. First, your King of Extreme went with one Tony G to the haunted Malvern Manor, and I, your King of Extreme, conquered the ethereal realm. So my kingdom grew in that regard. And then, through my time on the Dog and Chicken Show, through our election analysis, I became the prince and potentate of the political parlance. And then, to really cap it off, folks, the one and only Tony G here, which, you know, my indomitable broadcast partner, inebriation, and in all the craziness we've gone through, along with Chicken, got me a proclamation of official Scottish Highland lordship. So, folks, in terms of a year, it's been quite a year for your King of Extreme. My kingdom grows by the day, and I am so glad that you've joined us. And I am joined here by the one and only, the blend master himself, the 7-time RWP champion, the one, the only,
Tony G. Like, share, subscribe. And I thought it'd only be fitting, since we're about to go on a journey of you recapping this illustrious year, I would take the chance to enjoy my final backwoods cigar.
Ah, yes. The final backwoods cigar that Tony G will smoke. Now, if I can get my hands on some better, finer quality cigars, Tony may join me on one or two.
I can find a reason to celebrate a good cigar. These are...
The Christmas season is a good time to indulge. I'll give you that. So, folks, we are here to do the year in review. We're going to go over the spirits that really impressed us this year here at the KOE Nation. And really ones that we reviewed this year, but also since this is the first one, this will be the official declaration of the spirit of extreme in every category tonight. And then going forward, every spirit will have this baseline to compete against. So this is going to be interesting. And then from here on out, folks, it's all onward and upward. So we are going to give
Things are looking up, Phil.
Yes. I mean, I was titled Lordship in just the last week. So, I mean, this has been a pretty good week for me. Let alone, what can I say, folks? I mean, my kingdom grows. So, we shall see what happens here. But, folks, this is also recommendations. So, if you see any of these on the shelves, you might want to run out and grab it. Oh, no, that's an old school ashtray. I love it.
All right.
I mean, yeah.
Well, I just don't want it to get in the way, because we're gonna be talking a lot here about some wonderful spirits.
But yeah, that was actually my grandpa's ashtray. So yeah, old school style. I love it. So
and you could
that's always welcome.
You could take out an intruder with this thing.
That's what I like about it. It's that old school style. So folks, we're gonna start off before we get into all of the spirits. We're gonna start off with wine, but the categories are for wine: red, white, rosé, obviously. Then we get into liqueur, gin, tequila-mezcal. It's kind of the same. Like, a lot of people don't know that all tequila is mezcal, not all mezcal is tequila. It's kind of like bourbon versus whiskey. Mezcal is just the catch-all term for distillate of agave. Vodka of the year, rum of the year, cognac-brandy of the year, Canadian whiskey of the year, Tennessee whiskey of the year. I know, he does, yeah. Japanese whiskey of the year, Rye Whiskey of the year, the Bourbon of the Year, the Scotch of Extreme, and then the Whiskey of the Year. The one to beat them all will be revealed at the end of this video, folks. The one that if you can see a bottle of it, get yourself your hands on it. It's better than any of the allocated whatevers you're going to get your hands on. I'm sorry.
All right.
We will see. So, folks, let's dive right in. So, folks, the first category is Red Wine of the Year. And we are, bring it on over, T. We are going to get into Schlink Haas Dornfelder from the Rhine valleys of Germany. I have enjoyed several bottles of this, and I have been giving this as gifts to my aunts, cousins, people in my family, my sisters-in-law. I'm giving this as a gift to as many people. I'm trying to spread the word on sweet reds.
I gave 3 bottles of this as gifts this year.
Yeah, it's definitely worthy of gifting. It's sweet, it's approachable, it's not tannic, it's not bitter.
It's not going to break the bank either.
No, about $10 and some change per bottle. And so, yeah, it's affordable, approachable, sweet, and just wonderful. So if you get your hands on a bottle of Schlink Haas Dornfelder, which, funny enough, a lot of European grape snobs hate Dornfelder as a grape. They kind of poo-poo it. But
why?
I don't know. Apparently it's not bitter and tannic enough. So shame be that. But so folks, this year and the official red wine of extreme is Schlink Haas Dornfelder. Get yourself a bottle if you can. So T, we move onward and upward to one of only 2 bottles that we're not going to have here. So, Tony, this is your editing magic. Okay, so there it is. This is the white wine of the year, the shocker. I put this up against a Napa Valley Chardonnay. And I had a taste test. It was me and Nurse Ratchet, Poison Dawn, and Huntress. And we put that up against this particular wine. 2 brothers from James Arthur Vineyard, the Nebraska local boy, makes his way into the big show, and you have earned yourself the reputation as the white wine of the year and the white wine of extreme. I never thought I'd live to see the day where in a head-to-head taste test, a Nebraska white takes Napa Valley Chardonnay. I thought I was going to walk away. I thought that was going to be a Mark Hunt walk-away knockout. I thought that was,
Every year.
If you don't know who that is, look him up on YouTube.
Every year in a review needs a true underdog story.
Yes, and that one just, I didn't see it coming, but bam, it hit me out of nowhere, and we have 2 brothers, Nebraska's own, as the white wine of the year. So, yeah, okay, that's out of there. That's out. And then this one, the last one, I promise you folks, the rosé wine of the year. Oh, there we go. There we go. Whispering Angel, Courts de Provence Rosé. I do love me some Courts de Provence Rosé. You got to really get into it, but that was the rosé that I first learned to appreciate flavor in a spirit. I let it sit on my tongue for a little longer, and I got past the mineraliness and the bitterness, and the fruitiness started really expressing itself in a way I'd never tasted it before. And that's where I learned to appreciate a spirit and let it really let it coat the palate and get a full experience and not just knock it down. So this particular rosé is not only the rosé of extreme, but it started me on a flavor journey that I could never thank it enough. So, Whispering Angel, rosé of extreme. All right, T, this is a big bottle. Can you move it for me? There we go. There we go.
Got it.
Master editing. So now we move on, folks, to the hard stuff. Now, you'll notice that I don't have a beer of extreme.
That's okay.
We'll move on. So,
all right. I'll go ahead and nominate
whatever you like.
Cross Strain, Hell's Creek.
Yes.
Even Phil here. Okay.
Yes.
Even Phil here is a fan of this beer. It's not.
Even Phil here can drink it.
There you go.
Okay, I do not drink beer, and this one I can drink.
Yeah.
So it's actually not too bad. So yes. All right. Now, folks, we move on to the hard stuff. We're moving on to spirits of all kinds, and we're going to start off with the liqueurs of the year. First, we're going to go with the runner-up, which I have had nothing but good luck with this. Cointreau Triple Sec, the better Triple Sec. When you add that to any margarita, it just lights it up. And here, take a nose of this.
That's delightful on the nose.
Yes, so that's why I'd recommend this is the liqueur of the runner-up, and this is one of the better mixers. I've even thrown this in a couple of just whiskey and colas.
That's fair.
Just a dab.
If you're serious about your margaritas, do yourself a favor. Add a little bit of triple sec. It's going to do nothing but make it better.
Now,
especially if it's as nice as this.
The liqueur of the year, beyond a shadow of doubt, 35% ABV. It was a unicorn bottle for many. Crown Peach. A lot of people say, but that's Canadian whiskey. No, that is a liqueur. It's 35% ABV, because normally in order to be called a whiskey, it's got to be 40. And you'll notice, if you look at the label, it's got some very interesting labeling here. Peach flavored whiskey.
How many times does it say peach on that label, Phil?
Oh, yes. Let's see.
Plus a picture of a peach.
Peach, and then back here, peach. Yes.
And there's about 10 peaches on the ring at the top.
And then on the back here, it says the word whiskey one time. So this is an excellent product.
Oh, yes.
But it's not a whiskey. It is a liqueur. Now, I'm not going to begrudge. I'm giving it not only the liqueur of the year, it's the liqueur of extreme. Okay? It's actually works pretty well in cocktailing.
Oh,
if
marvelous.
you use it like you would Cointreau or a triple sec. Don't overdo it. It's the accent. It's not the main course. If you do it right, it's not going to cause an upset.
It's easy to overdo this, though.
Because it does go down a little too easy.
Crown Peach, orange juice, pineapple juice, grenadine.
Any juice.
Thank me later. Any juice, but yeah. That's a marvelous mix of OJ and grenadine.
Yes, so now is official. The liqueur of extreme, Crown Peach. Well done, folks, at Crown Royal Distillery. So yes, we move onward and upward to the gin. Now, we are going to go first to the runner-up. The runner-up, unfortunately, because this is the only other gin I have had this year, is Tangle Ray. It's the second best gin I have had this year because it is the second. It is one of two gins I've had this year.
Yeah, and we started you out with gin really on the high note here, and this is one of the more upscale gins that there is, and I like it. As a gin, I really like Tangle Ray. It's really nice, but, you know, I feel it's fair that that's the runner-up.
You know what, since I've had this, you know what I use Tangle Ray for? Like, if the dog has an accident on the floor, I pour it on that before I mop it up. That's what...
Ringing endorsement for the folks at Tangle Ray.
Yes. Sorry, but yeah, I'm not a big fan. The gin of the year, going to be kind of tough to unseat this.
Oh, yeah.
Loop River Distillery Good Life Gin. I will actually drink this gin. I will actually not... Like this, I will gag down. This, yes, I'm sorry. So if you can't tell, I'm not a big fan. That, I actually made that in a cocktail for Gerald Ford because he was actually born here in Nebraska. And this comes from here in Nebraska. I thought it was fitting. It was actually not too bad. Because normally the gin martini, it's a great drink if you like seawater. That's always what I've said about it. So,
is this made with juniper berries or not?
I believe it's almost entirely corn.
Okay, because typically you're going to have a juniper berry in your gin, and I think that's why
bring the tank back over here.
You find that a little bit unappealing, I think.
Well, if it actually smelled of sweet juniper, that would be one thing.
Oh, it smells like it.
Smell both of these.
It doesn't taste
Which
like
one
it.
is offensive?
Yeah, they definitely both smell like gin. But this one does have that sour, overly ripe, berry smell. It's what...
Berry! You're calling that berry.
Okay.
What fucking berry have you ever tasted in your... What? Like, I'm sorry. Pardon my French
I
here,
worked
folks.
in a produce department in high
So,
school.
Loop River Distillery, St. Paul, Nebraska, from our grain to your glass. Corn. I'm guessing this is almost entirely corn in the mash bill.
Yeah, probably.
And they made a variant of gin. I got no problem, and this is way better than any other gin I have had thus far in my life. So,
Fair.
that, going forward, is the gin of Extreme Good Life Gin from Loop River Distillery. Well done, folks. So now we move on to the Tequila-Mezcal of Extreme. This is the runner-up for the Tequila and or Mezcal of Extreme. This is Del Maguey Single Village Mezcal, the Tobala Mezcal. Tobala, if you don't know, is a very small agave. It takes 8 Tobala to make one standard agave, and it only grows at high altitudes and shady areas, so it's very hard to get, and so it's a very connoisseur's drink. But, in terms of distillate of agave, a new challenge arose. One that just blew all expectations out of the water, and we've been trying to find another bottle ever since. Patron Estate Release. Amazing stuff. Del Maguey, good stuff, but it's a connoisseur's drink and very particular.
Yeah. This is incredible.
This anybody could enjoy, and this is like distilled agave nectar is the best way I can describe it. And as you can see, folks, I've got just a tiny little bit left just because I almost can't bear the thought of not having any more until I can find another bottle.
Yeah.
So that's going to be something I'm searching for if I can even find any next year. But going forward, this is the standard that must be beaten. Patron Estate Release, the Tequila of Extreme. Yes, Patron, all of you at that distillery, take a bow. I mean, this is an achievement.
Yep, I love this stuff.
Like, this is ascendant. Like, this is agave distillation as a master craftsmanship. That's what I'm going to say about this. So, yes, the agave, the mezcal, the tequila of Extreme, right there, folks. If you are lucky enough to even lay eyes on a bottle of this,
get 3.
Yes, trust me, it's going to be spendy. You're going to thank me later.
Yep.
It's as good a tequila as I've ever found. So, yes, I could continue to just gush over this, but we've got some more ground to cover, and we move onward and upward to now the Vodka of the Year runner-up. Again, another local boy. Cut Spike Vodka. This is distilled in here in Nebraska, pretty much Omaha.
La Vista.
Yeah,
yes,
La Vista.
Omaha.
And I have not had it, but Tony G here has.
It's clean. It's affordable. It's very pleasant to drink. You can do so much with it. It's about $17 a bottle. If you come across it, you like vodka, you like clean vodka, this is really
The
nice.
reason I have not had this yet is because every time I have entertained guests and every time I have served a drink with vodka, I have known that there's really only one that I need turn to because it will always give me a quality vodka experience for a very low price. And that is going to be a shock to nobody. The one, the only, Tito's handmade vodka. Tito's has been the vodka I have served to everybody that comes over to my house. Tito's is 100% corn, so you are supporting your local corn farmers, or at least corn farmers in Texas, which, hey, I'll help however I can. Tito's is an excellent craft vodka. It started off as a craft vodka, and then it just became a major industrial concern. And nobody's got any complaints. It's going to be there for you. Made right here in America, made with corn, distilled in Texas. Tito himself still pretty much oversees most of the process just because it's kind of a labor of love for him.
It's become kind of the darling of the vodka world.
Yes.
Anybody mixing a drink, you're seeing this. You're seeing this everywhere. Most people have a bottle of it if they enjoy vodka.
Now, moving forward, in 2021, there is going to be a vodka showdown, putting Tito's up against some pretty heavy hitters. But we will see how it manages, if it can hold its place as it stands right now. Tito's, we congratulate you as the vodka of extreme. Yes, folks. So, folks, we move onward and upward to... Now we're out of the white spirits, the ones that are clear and have no cask aging, generally. Sometimes gin does. Now we move on to a bit of a sweet tooth, the rums of extreme. And we're going to start off with the runner-up, the Pusser's Rum. This is a recipe that is very close to what was issued to Navy sailors for 300 years in the British Royal Navy. So this is generally what's used for folks who have toasts, especially on Black Tot Day. Me and Nurse Ratched actually did use this rum for a toast to Black Tot Day, and we'll probably use the rest of this for similar this year. It was the last day in the 1970s that the British Royal Navy issued rum to its sailors. It's very
thick.
Yes, it's molassesy, and you do kind of get the idea like, yep, this is a sailor's rum, but it's not too bad, and I would recommend for the $26 I paid for it, not the worst rum you're ever going to have, but the best rum you may ever have is the rum of extreme, and I don't know who's going to really unseat this one. It's going to be awful hard. Ron Zucapa, 23 years Systema Solera, Guatemalan rum.
Oh,
this is...
beautiful.
Yes, it's distilled on mountaintops, generally around 67 degrees. They even recommend you drink the rum at 67 degrees. I've had it at room temperature. I've had it with cocktails of every kind. I've had it on the rocks. It's marvelous under every single circumstance. And the reason is because it's not like the Pusser's rum or any other rum in which they use molasses and distill it. This is from virgin sugarcane aged at a high altitude in oak barrels. And it's a Solera system, just like the Glenfiddich 15. Which, boy, you sure do. And Solera systems, you can mess them up. These guys do it right. And what's also neat is this little weaving here. This is actually weaved by village ladies from 3 villages that they're actually descended from the Maya in Guatemala. And this is actually the symbol for harmony of space and time for the Mayan people. So it's actually pretty neat that you're getting a significant, like several villages are just giving a lot of effort to bringing this to you, and it's a marvelous, marvelous product. The reason it also kind of pointed me to it in the first place is my daughter is part Guatemalan, and so I just one day was on my phone like, what's a well-known spirit of Guatemala? And then it pointed me to this. And so I was like, well, let's give it a shot. Oh my goodness, that's one of the best rums I've ever had.
Yeah, and we about knocked out a bottle, ironically, when I found out that I was having my 4th child, which ironically ended up being a daughter here.
Yes.
Very recently.
So this one kind of had a lot of strange coincidences for us. And yeah, the night he told me about that, we knocked down pretty much almost entire bottle of this. Like there was like a few swallows left. But that was quite an evening, quite an event, and this rum has proven to be, like, I'm guessing, Tony, if you come across a bottle of this at a pretty decent price, I don't think you're going to have another rum on your shelves.
No, this is it. Like, I've been kind of tiptoeing around buying a bottle of this just because there was a few others I wanted to pick up, but I know where to get it. I'm going to get it. This is going to be on my shelf very, very soon. This is amazing.
Yes.
And it is the
rum of Extreme and the rum of 2020. So I cannot recommend this one enough. This one, not only did T and I have some pretty good memories over this particular brand, but it's just objectively good. It's going to be sweet. It's not going to be overbearing. It's rounded and soft, and you can mix it with literally anything. Like, you can mix it with soda, you can mix it with fruit juices, you can mix it in complex cocktails, you can have it neat or on the rocks, and it will be there for you, get the job done. And it's at the time, it was under $40. Now it's just creeping over $40, still worth every penny.
I've recommended it to several people.
Yes, I cannot recommend it enough, so... All right, we move onward and upward. Cognac-brandies of Extreme. Runner-up is Hennessy Very Special Old Pale, VSOP. This is a marvelous, marvelous cognac. I've only had a little bit of this. I just enjoyed it at a party with a few friends. Now I know some cognac snobs are going to just, give it a shot.
All right. Talk me into it.
I've actually found that adding a drop, not a drop of water, but a little bit of ice, just 1 cube in cognac is amazing.
Oh, yeah, that's really pleasant.
Yeah. Wow. It's not going to be offensive at all. And what I like is they come out with the 350s. So you can actually get a very classy drink for not very much money. I think I got this for under $30.
Wow, that's not bad at all.
To get a really classy cognac for under $30 is
that's worth every bit.
Yes. Now, it's good, but it got overshadowed by something my father and I had on Christmas evening, and we're going to have to get into a review of this. Courvoisier Connoisseur's Collection, aged 21 years, Cognac Grand Champagne. As you can see, my father and I had a very good Christmas evening discussing life and truth, and we even had some good ideas that were even good the next day. So, and you know, when you're gonna break into a bottle like that, Christmas with your dad, that's a good time to do it. And not only was it amazing in terms of this year, but do you remember 2 years ago when I got a bottle of Courvoisier Eiffel Tower Special Edition, and how amazingly smooth and buttery and sweet that was? And I was almost upset that I would never find a cognac that would ever be that good again, and I could never find another bottle. Well, guess what? I found one that kicks the shit out of that bottle and is the best cognac I've ever had in my life, and the best I might ever have. And in fact, I'm sorry, T, you need to just try.
I mean, if you're gonna twist my arm
right out of the socket.
All right.
Give that just a little drink. Yeah, it's 21-year aged Courvoisier cognac from Champagne, France.
Wow.
And that's in a dirty glass too. So
wow.
Yeah. Do you see what I'm getting at? It goes down, like, the most abused word in spirits is smooth.
It is, but that applies here. That's insanely smooth.
It goes, like...
Wow.
My dad and I had just wine glasses, and we were just kind of sipping on it all night, just discussing life, truth, and farming.
That makes sense.
yeah, it just felt right. What can I say? It's
That's beautiful.
yes. So it cost $180. Dare I say, worth it?
Wow. All right.
Like, as much as I hate to say, not only
There you
is
go.
this the cognac of extreme, if I ever see another bottle, which is the first one I ever saw in my life, so I doubt I'll ever see another one, I'll probably try to get my hands on it if it's for under $200.
There you go.
Over, that's just kind of that's kind of my personal cutoff for almost any bottle. It's like $220. That's where you're.
That's fair.
I don't care how many unicorn tears cried into this thing. It's. I think it is what it is. So yes, the cognac of the year, Cognac Courvoisier, 21 year, an amazing cognac. I cannot.
The cognac of extreme.
Yes, it is. It is. So now we move on, Tony, to the whiskey categories, the one you've been looking forward to.
Indeed.
We're going to start off with Canadian whiskey. J.P. Weiser's 18 years old. Another spirit that I enjoyed with my dad on Christmas.
This is actually a bottle
As you can tell, we had a fun Christmas.
This is one I'd been looking for a while, and had it not been for a couple other bottles that I was eyeballing that day, I was going to grab this. I'm like, maybe I'll think about it. And you're like, I'm not going to. And he's like, yep, this is coming home. So he put it in the cart, and there are more now. And now that it's got your ringing endorsement,
yes.
I will be grabbing a bottle of this.
Well, a bottle of this was my Christmas present to my dad because he likes Canadian whiskey. He won't come over to the Scotch side. He'll barely drink bourbon if you'll mix it with something. So he's not coming along on that. For an 18-year-old whiskey that's under $60, that's a tremendous value.
And this was
so
right around 50, was it not?
Yeah, it was like $54 to $58. So
pretty good
I just
steal.
kind of rolled the dice knowing that's a blended Canadian whiskey, knowing he loves blended Canadian whiskeys. It's a fine blended Canadian whiskey.
And an age statement.
And actually, the 35 year is only $156.
Really?
So, like,
Wow.
now, I don't know if I'm going to run out and get my hands on one, but to know that you can get that old of a whiskey for that cheap.
And this is a really nice bottle.
Yeah, 18 years. So that is the runner-up for Canadian Whiskey of the Year. You were the guy who introduced me to J.P. Weiser's to begin with. But the undisputed winner for Canadian Whiskey of the Year, was there ever really any doubt in anyone's mind? Crown Royal XR. That was going to happen. We all know that's pretty much the peak of what comes out of the Crown Royal Distillery, and the Crown Royal Distillery is competitive or can beat out almost any other distillery in Canada, at least in terms of volume. It's going to beat them all out. But in terms of quality for its highest end products, again, Crown Royal does kind of get, like you said in the Maker's Mark line review, that kind of gets that bad reputation. But its high end releases are definitely worth the pour.
Yeah,
They're
it's
definitely
so smooth. So
now it's about $120
good.
around our area for a bottle of XR. So it's kind of a.
If you like Canadian, it's worth it. It's
Yes.
definitely worth it. It's so smooth.
Yes, but so going forward until some other distillery in Canada, and folks, if you happen to be a viewer from up north of us, give us some recommendations on some whiskeys you think can unseat Crown Royal XR. But going forward, Crown Royal XR, you are the Canadian whiskey of extreme. All right, T. We now move on to Japanese whiskey. So the runner-up is the excellent grain whiskey, Nika Coffee Grain Whiskey. This is a from a coffee grain, and it's almost 95% corn and about 5% malted barley. But in terms of a corn whiskey and in terms of a whiskey, this was just amazing. And it just barely beat out Kamiki, which was one we reviewed at the beginning of
Yes.
the year. So we really like this one. It's an excellent grain whiskey, but it didn't quite beat out the winner and the undisputed champion of Japanese whiskey going forward. Same distillery, Nika Miyagikiyo. This is, yes, an amazing sweet malt. This is kind of more trying to copy the idea of the sweet, like, dare I say, like the Speysides, the Highlands, the very honeyed sweetness, sherry influences. You and I were not so much for the peat, and that's more Yoichi, which we will try in the future, but it's going to have a hell of a time unseating Miyagikiyo in terms of Japanese whiskey.
Oh, yeah, this is marvelous.
And I also looked up the screw cap. That's just a normal thing in Japanese whiskey. Like even their very high-end stuff normally has a screw cap. Corks just aren't a big thing there. So, is what it is, but welcome to the new category of Whiskey of Extreme, Miyagikiyo Japanese Whiskey. Now, all right, we've got 2 regions left. Oh, wait. We can't leave off Tennessee Whiskey. I know, just defeated. The runner-up for Tennessee Whiskey is big shocker, Jack Daniels. I know. Mostly because I haven't tried George Dickel yet or Uncle Nearest. I've got a bottle, I just haven't tried it yet. That's coming down the pike. Might win in 2021. But now we come to the winner. The Tennessee Whiskey of Extreme, as of right now, big shock, Jack Daniels Single Barrel, which is actually better than the Single Barrel Proof. Considerably better.
A lot better.
Like, I was kind of surprised by that. Maybe that was just a bad barrel. Who knows? Yeah. But,
Tennessee.
Bourbon. Tennessee whiskey is not a bourbon, never will be.
It's a fucking bourbon.
It's not a bourbon, never will be.
It is a bourbon.
It's not a bourbon.
It will always be a bourbon. Even
bourbon.
the Jack Daniels distillers will admit that it's a bourbon.
It is not a bourbon. No, actually, Germs even has told us the joke that they say at the Jack Daniels Distillery. They say, let Maker's Mark make bourbon. Here, we make whiskey. So even the guys at the distillery, okay, Tony, if we were to take a bottle of bourbon, pour it through a Brita charcoal filter, that is now Tennessee whiskey by some laws in Tennessee, I think. Bourbon. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments.
Bourbon. It's fucking bourbon.
So, big shocker. Jack Daniels with the clean sweep of the Tennessee whiskey category, which is a very crowded category of George Dickel and Uncle Nearest. And I'm sure 1 or 2 others. Tony, your disgust is just so thick I could drizzle it on pancakes now. It's amazing. It's just like, that is pain, folks. That is pain. So, now, Tony, we can move on to an area you're actually looking forward to.
I want to talk about Jack Daniels more.
No, I know you do. We're moving on to the Irish whiskeys. Now, Tony, pull up both bottles, because this one's gonna... So there's Tullamore Dew 12, and then Middleton Very Rare.
2019.
Yes, the 2019 Middleton Very Rare. An excellent whiskey. A marvelous whiskey. A true sign of craftsmanship from the Middleton Distillery. Yeah. So I cannot tell you how flabbergasted and disappointed I was when Tullamore Dew blew it out of the fucking water, not even close. Like, Tullamore Dew is one of the best, 12-year is one of the best Irish whiskeys I've ever had. Just straight up. Here, let me just get a nose off the bottle there. Excellent. Better Like, I'm sorry. I don't know what else to do. Oh, is Tony going to do it? The runner-up and the winner in a blend. Yeah, I was about to say, it needs a little more. There we go. That's perfect. That's perfect. So, all right, let's see how the blend goes, Blend Master. We have to know. We have to know.
Oh, yeah. Amazing.
I'm sure that's just awful.
Oh, yeah.
So,
oh, wow.
Tony, I got to ask you. So, because I have to report accurately to the KOE Nation.
Oh, wow.
What did this bottle of Middleton Very Rare cost you?
This was right around
$200. What did this bottle of Tullamore Dew 12-year cost you? $50. $50. Like I have said many times, folks, price is not necessarily a reflection of quality, but of rarity. This is incredibly rare. Only a few casks. It's great stuff. But this was aged pretty much, as I hate to say, I'm just going to go ahead and say it, copying kind of the Dalmore Distillery model of aging it in bourbon for 10 years and then aging it in sherry for another 2 years. What do you know? It happens to work. So I cannot tell you how flabbergasted and almost disappointed I was in myself. But to thine own self be true, Middleton Very Rare, we like you, but unfortunately, you sit down. I know, Tony, you're crushed. But Tullamore Dew 12-year, as stands right now, is the Irish whiskey of extreme. Folks at Tullamore Dew, take a bow. Some truly marvelous craftsmanship. Yep, Tony gives that one a kiss. Now we move on to Rye Whiskey. We've only got 4 whiskey categories left. The runner-up, the winner of the blind rye flight with me, Tony, and Chicken, the shocker, Bullet Rye. 95% rye in its mash build. I suspect the other 5% is malted barley to get the enzymes naturally, which we found with the Nica coffee grain whiskey. Adding that 5% really does make the flavor better when you get the enzymes naturally. I just what I've seen. So an excellent rye, and I thought this one was going to win the Rye of Extreme. What? Yeah. Oh, great! I got a
cheap, hands down on the rye test.
Easy rye that I can just go to whenever I need, and I don't have to stock a bunch of rye. But then a challenge arose. A rye so good that it redefined what I even thought a rye could do. Mitcher's Rye. I am kind of flabbergasted by this batch of appley, candied apple sweet goodness that is somehow in a rye. Like, I'm just going to give this a nose. It's not going to make sense. Yeah, that makes no sense at all. That's like what some bourbons wish they were.
That's so good. This knocked us on our ass when we tried it. I had so many recommendations. This is just a rye that you have to try. I'm like, fine. Found it on sale. Okay, normally this runs around 50. It was right under 40. I'm like, okay, this is the perfect time to try this. We did the review, and we were just floored at how marvelous this is in basically all the categories. Love this stuff. We'll always have a bottle of this on hand.
Yeah, I don't know, like, this one is, I'm at a loss for words and as to how good it is.
So good.
I didn't think rye could even go there. And I'm still doing the rye elimination for the rye flights. There's some more coming. Keep your eye on the space. But man, when I inject this into our blind rye flights, I think this one's gonna, like I said, it's a Mark Hunt walk-away knockout. Just, there's no competition here. So the undisputed, hard to challenge Rye of Extreme going forward into 2021 is Mitcher's Rye, folks. Well done, Mitcher's. Excellent, excellent rye whiskey. So the Bourbon of Extreme. We're going to go with... Just bring them both out, T, actually. Both of them. They're the same distillery. Colonel E.H. Taylor and Blanton's. This is tough.
Yeah.
Now, in your opinion, which one would you name the bourbon of Compound G?
It's hard because, like you said, same distillery. Right now, just as hard to come by either bottle. But man, this one has a stigma about it. You either love the Blantons or you despise it to the point where you're like, if it was in a plastic bottle, you'd think it was a $12 whiskey. But it's a gorgeous bottle, and it tastes amazing.
It's caramel in a glass.
Yeah, it's great
in
stuff.
In fact, I'm going to add just a little drop to my bourbon
there you go.
blend here, because this is just a blend of bourbons anywho. Just a little. Oh, plenty. Okay. Now, thing is, Colonel E.H. Taylor is also caramel in a glass, but it's also a delightful amount of vanilla in a glass. And that's why, as much as I love me some Blantons, I really do love some Blantons. And I'm not just on the fanboy. It's just good whiskey to my palate because it's so caramel forward. So I got a sweet tooth when it comes to whiskeys. This one hits it very well. So I'm going to have to give this one the runner-up to Colonel E.H. Taylor's small batch bourbon as the bourbon of extreme. Dad's worldwide agrees. So that is... If you can find a bottle of Colonel E.H. Taylor, folks, I cannot recommend it highly enough. It's amazingly smooth. It goes down well. Is it bottled in bond? Yes, so it's going to be 100 proof, which is just fine, just right. And I cannot tell you how good that stuff is.
It's marvelous.
And, like, Blanton's is a single barrel. Colonel E.H. Taylor is a small batch, and small batches can really round out edges. So, now, Tony, the Scotch of Extreme, this is tough. Just pull out both contestants. It's Glenfiddich 21 and the Dalmore 18. These, now as you can see, I've thoroughly enjoyed the Dalmore 18. The only reason this bottle is open is because Tony's got a half-drank bottle of it at his house.
Yeah.
This is very tough, T.
Yeah.
Now, I want to hear your thoughts.
The Glenfiddich 21 is just an achievement. It's so approachable. It's so delightful on the palate. There's so much goodness in that bottle. It's just so delightful. You enjoy. It's like your tongue is frolicking through a meadow when you're drinking it. It's basically.
Okay, come back.
Oh, sorry.
Yes. Like Tony's mind was just like in like just a beautiful meadow, just with a Glenfiddich in his hand, and.
It's amazing. It's so good. It's so good.
Because these are both sweet malts.
Yes.
But they're both very much on the opposite ends of their sweetness.
That's the Space side. Here's your Highland, though, and that...
This is dark, deep, rich chocolates.
Yeah, without going
cherries
without going into like the crazy age statements of the Dalmore, this is the pinnacle on the principal line, folks, of the age statement Dalmore.
Every whiskey in there is anywhere from 18 to 20 years old.
And I personally love the 15 so much, and if you're handed the choice to drink 15 or 18, it's a toss-up for me, but the 18 is just so damn good. Yes. The 18 barely nudges out the 15.
Yes, and it's pretty much my favorite Highland, the Dalmore, and the 18. My brother and I have discussed many an evening of life and truth over the Dalmore 18. I can't get my dad into Scotch. It's just not like... He's not going to get into it. So this is tough because this is one of my favorite distilleries. This is an amazing achievement that's older, sweeter. It's just, it's so tough for me to decide here. Do you see where I'm coming from?
I totally agree. It's almost like they're not in the same category.
But they so much are.
But they are.
And only one of them can be the Scotch of Extreme, Tony. So
I don't even think it's fair to say runner-up. I think, here's your Highland of Extreme. Here's your Speyside of Extreme.
That is a good...
So, there you go.
That is very tough. But, Tony...
Only one can be the Scotch of Extreme.
Yes, you're right! So, which one, if you were going... I'm just going to let you give your thoughts first before I render final judgment.
It's tough not to pick the 21. I think I'm actually going to pick the Dalmore 18, Phil. I'm going to do it. Because, again, this is about as close to the constellation line you can go. I was just about
thinking about picking the 21, too. Which is
I know.
Like, because you're Mr. Speyside. You're about to pick a Highland.
That's why
I'm Mr. Highland, and I'm almost considering picking a Speyside. Do you see how tough this is, folks? It's almost not fair. It's just,
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy here.
But yes, these are definitely the picks of each of their regions.
Indeed. What's it going to be, Phil? Rip the Band-Aid off. You got to pick one.
This is an amazingly good whiskey, and it might have a chance to win next year. But just in terms of personal memories in a bottle, this one does take it, and the Dalmore is my favorite distillery. So at least for the first year out,
there you go.
The Scotch of Extreme is the Dalmore, but Glenfiddich 21, by no means are you a runner-up by any. I was this close to picking you, but there can only be one Highlander, and it is the Highland Malt. I mean, come on. I got a Highlander reference in there. Come on.
Fair.
90s TV fans are getting a minor chuckle. The Whiskey of Extreme. Now, the runner-up did not make an appearance in the bourbon category, strangely enough, but it is a Kentucky straight bourbon. Bring it on out, Tony. As of right now, the runner-up to the Whiskey of Extreme, Maker's Mark Private Select from the Still, Lincoln, Nebraska. This is... Can you even think of anything wrong with this whiskey?
No, this has been just a delight, a true delight every time I've had it, and it's so good, and it's unfortunate that it's just not readily available everywhere.
I know that's almost a crime.
It really is.
Like it's a tragedy that this is not available to more people.
Yeah.
This specific store pick with baked American puree number 2, seared French cuvee, Maker's 46, and roasted French mocha. That is the secret sauce I've found. So this is a Still Private Select, 109.2 proof, 54.6 alcohol by volume. It's hot, but it does not drink like it's hot.
No.
And this will be the second bottle that I have purchased of this year. It's that good. I rarely go through a single bottle of whiskey in a year.
Yeah, that quickly.
This one did. Yeah. So that is the runner-up, but it is not the Whiskey of Extreme. This year, the undisputed Whiskey of Extreme, the one that blew every other whiskey out of the water, the one that redefined what we thought whiskey could be, and the one that, despite all of our journeys into rye, Scotch, bourbon, Japanese, Irish, all of the different whiskeys of the world, this one still left them all in the dust. Bring it out. TX Whiskey from Firestone and Robertson Distillery in Texas. This blended Texas whiskey with a price of between $25 to $30 has blown away every whiskey I have had all year. We had this at the beginning of this year when we were in Houston, Texas. And Tony and I thought we were just so happy that we were in the Royal Rumble that anything we drank was going to taste like candy. But when we came back and tried this again, TX whiskey was still as good as when we remembered it. And it, yes.
For comparison's sake.
Yes, they also have a 175 bottle. And this,
as you can see,
and in terms of your review, it's something that happened when my grandfather passed away. This bottle was well used by Clan KOE, by the KOE family. TX whiskey was a very integral part of that. So that's what that bottle in particular was used for. So yes, TX whiskey was heavily induced. It didn't induce drunkenness, but was heavily endorsed by my entire extended family, uncles, brothers. They all said, this is amazing. Where can I get some? Unfortunately, you have to go to Texas to get it. So this is due to the personal memories that Tony and I have attached to it, the personal memories that my own family has attached to it. Its outstanding consistency and quality. The fact that it was able to keep such consistency and such quality across, because the one we reviewed was a Christmas batch. This was a different batch. They were still consistent. They still had amazing quality, great smell. You can drink it neat on the rocks, mixed with anything. You could mix it with rum cocktails and it would work. Okay, the flavor profile would be a little more honey forward, and it would be a little different, but it would work.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have a chance, and if you happen to be lucky enough to be living in Texas, you lucky so-and-sos, to get yourself a bottle of TX blended whiskey, do so. Firestone and Robertson, you put out an amazing product. We've tried your bourbon. It's good, and it's got potential. But this is way better. Like, this is just... Yeah. This redefines what a blended whiskey can be. So, that is why... I mean, I'm kind of gushing over it here. But that is why TX whiskey is now, beyond a shadow of a doubt, and beyond any question, the whiskey of extreme. So, folks... We have gone through all the spirits. We have determined the most extreme spirits of all categories that you need to get your hands on. Thank you for joining us here. Thank you for being a part of this journey. I am the devilishly handsome outlaw himself, your king of extreme, Phil KOE, and as I'm known to say around here, all that being said, Tony, take it away, man.
The Blendmaster approves the whiskey of the year 2020.
See you next year, folks.
Like, share, subscribe on to 2021.